Well, maybe not like climb up my butthole, but it wanted to leave. It wanted to pack up its balls and go.
Oh man, yeah. All right, so Richie may or may not join us. I don't know. Probably not.
Probably not.
But
His
we are.
thing is silenced. His phone is set to do not disturb mode, which means that he's probably with HQS getting zip ties stuck up his asshole or something.
Yeah. So, but for part of our show, we have a guest again,
We
and
do.
he's the guy that I do the Brigade stuff, which I don't know if that's still the official.
Beer
The Brigade.
Beercade?
Yeah, the Brigade. The Noise Brigade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I thought you were for some reason I thought you were pronouncing it wrong but no, that's what the fuck it's called.
Well, I don't know. It's still a working title. I don't know. I haven't gotten any.
Work on that.
Yeah, yeah. That's your new responsibility. You got to start putting some effort into this.
Why try?
Wait. We don't put any effort into this. Why does he have to?
Look, man, I can't do all the heavy lifting. Now, we're going to dive into a pretty fun Xbox versus PlayStation conversation with Bink here. And I would like to kind of wrap something up, though. We did AI and mostly focused on Chat GPT, which, Bink, I know you're familiar with just on the sheer fact of all the fun I've made with Skippy on it, one of our esteemed friends, colleagues, whatever you want to call him. And I am curious, though, before we dive into our topic at hand, do you have any thoughts on where AI stands now, either good, bad, indifferent?
I think it can be good, and I think it can be bad. I heard that it may take away jobs of like lawyers and stuff, but I'm like, oh, they're lawyers, so it's okay.
Yeah, fuck them. They're lawyers. I don't give a shit.
But just kind of like the research aspect of it, they'll be able to find everything so much quicker than like I don't know. Some things are good about it. Some things are pretty crazy. I mean, kids can obviously write papers really easy with school. I wish we had that when I was available, because I wouldn't do half the shit that I had to do. But things are changing. Of course, we're going to be grumpy old men regardless, whether we like it or not. And it's just be interesting to see where it goes and just how to use it to fuck with your friends.
Which is pretty much the only thing that I do it for. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, let's look at technology through the past that we've used to fuck with each other. Tom, were you were one of the recipients of the text, the TTY for the deaf calls, weren't you?
I was.
So there was this free telephone relay service, which I'm sure there still is, for deaf people, where you could go on a website and type away what you wanted them to say, and they would call the person.
Yeah.
And they would say everything that you said.
Oh, I had a buddy in college who was deaf, and he's still one of my PlayStation buddies. He's on Tap too, and he would just have her say the raunchiest shit. It was just hysterical.
Yeah.
I felt bad for this poor lady.
We would do that we'd do that shit all the time, because why not waste these people's time and money?
And there's like so many, like you said, the tech tools. Bob, do you remember the remote access software, Donald Dick?
No.
Do you remember that?
No.
So it was basically a precursor to what you have with remote desktoping and all that. But you would install it on somebody's. It was big in colleges. You would install it on somebody's computer, and you could take control of their computer. So like open their CD tray, close stuff out, like, because colleges in the late 90s had a pretty decent networks for the most part.
Yeah.
But that was one of the ways to screw with people. So yeah, I learned of that it was like Brooks, I think, was the one that showed me, because they were doing it at Stevens, and it was like the craziest stuff. And it was, really think of it, way ahead of its time, because I'm still using remote stuff now. But that was just to screw with people, so I don't know.
I love it.
If you want to go back even farther, like some of my buddies would have pagers, and you would just send them the wrong number and have them call people.
So into the college thing, we there was this kid on campus. It was just a real douchebag. He thought he was the coolest fucker around, and he had an access show on Stockton TV, and he was one of a few people that had like access shows, and they would take live calls, and they didn't have a screener, and I may or may not be responsible for them canceling all of the live shows because I would call in with a soundboard and just fuck with them so bad that they ended up canceling it because so much raunchy shit got out over the air from me fucking with them that all of a sudden one day we went on and there was nothing. It was all just movies and TVs. It was all pre-recorded shit. So
yeah, I wonder if they ever got fined for that.
Hopefully he had to pay it out of his tuition because he was a piece of shit. To give you an idea who this kid was, he had a party on 9/11 when classes got canceled.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
So now you don't feel bad for him anymore, right?
no.
I didn't feel bad for him anyway, but
Well, yeah.
I mean,
So we had a buddy who in college, he was just a man whore, and we all kind of really hated him. So we all signed him up for different stuff to get sent to him. So I got like Valtrek sent to him, and like gay and lesbian club of like Key West was sending him stuff. I had stuff from the military.
Meat
Just
of the month club.
Yeah, just all this random shit just sent to him just because he was just a douchebag.
Dildos are us.
oh, man. Yeah, no, I think that could be a fun time. We have to really dive into that at some point.
What, dildos are us?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a whole series. That's a whole nother show. Like, and I'm not saying show, like, I mean show with multiple episodes.
The Dildo Brigade.
Exactly. Yeah, we just renamed the beer show.
Incidentally, that's what Richie and HQS call their date nights. The Dildo Brigade.
Oh man. All right, let's dive into the topic at hand here. Bob, you and I kind of batted around a couple text messages trying to figure something out. I know, Bink, you asked me what we're talking about, and I was like, I don't know. Probably just nothing and devolve into chaos like we usually do. But no, you did throw out a good one. Good old age-old question of Xbox versus the PlayStation. And this is a question now that's a couple decades old. So I think we both, or all three of us, have some pretty good experience with both sides of this coin. I don't know. Let's ask our guest here first. Bink, did you have an Xbox or PlayStation first? Do you recall?
I had a PlayStation, and Buddy got an Xbox. And from the very start, I did not like the configuration of how the controller felt. I got my hands felt weird on the controller, and I never liked playing Xbox. So that's why I never went Xbox. I would play games here or there, but like my hands hurt. And I know it sounds weird, but it's just the comfort of the PlayStation controller. And even the PS5 now controller is even more comfortable than the other ones. But I mean, the graphics were the same. They had games, equivalent. But I've just always been a PlayStation guy, and I love God of War and going all the way back. I love Resistance and you name it like that. But it basically stems to how the controller felt in my hand.
Now, I have a question, and Bob, I know you'll know this one too. So the controllers for the original Xbox were gigantic.
Mm-hmm.
They were called the Duke.
No, I didn't know
is that the one that you recall? Like they're huge. Like they were just a big controller. So
well, I remember my hands had to go like around to hit the trigger, and like I was getting like carpal tunnel just playing it, and I was like, it's not enjoyable.
Yeah, that was the Duke. Those were you could fucking beat somebody to death with a Duke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I remember years later selling one of those controllers on eBay for quite a substantial amount of money because apparently they were good for people with really big hands. Supposedly, I don't really know how, why whatsoever there. I mean, I guess it would make sense just based on the size of the thing. I will say this: I had an Xbox not long after, or at least in the same frame as the PlayStation. PlayStation I had first, but I understand completely about the controller because I did not like that either at all first time around. So I don't know, Bob. What do you remember those funny big old controllers?
So yeah, I mean, I obviously started off with the PlayStation because it came out first.
Yeah.
So I had the PlayStation. I ended up getting a PlayStation 2, and I remember when I switched it over, I was at I actually had a GameCube first before I had a PlayStation 2, and I got the GameCube, which was my first was the first system that I really had near the time period when it was newer because I got it used at or what was it, Babbage's or Software Etc. In
Babbage's.
it was Software Etc. in the Deptford Mall. I got it when I was on. It's when I was activated for the summer, or not activated for the summer, but I was working at the base a lot during the summer before I became a technician, and I got it, and I bought Animal Crossing for it, and my youngest sister fucking loved it and was always taking it into her room, and she ended up eating the fucking control sticks on the GameCube. So my parents are like, look, she's always taking it from you. She just ruined your controllers. All right, look, we'll buy it from you. I was like, all right, cool. So they bought that from me, and I used that money to buy a PS2. And then I had the PS2 for a little bit, and we had been playing that up at the base. Like people were bringing in PS2s, and we were playing it, and it was all right. But my buddy's like, dude, why don't you get an Xbox? I'm like, well, I don't really like the Xbox. He goes, trust me. He's like, all you want to really do is play sports games, right? And I was like, yeah. He goes, well, the Xbox has better graphics and it has a hard drive, so you don't have to worry about memory cards. So I'm like, all right, that makes sense. So I went into, and this is going to be another throwback, I went into Game Crazy, which I later worked at. But Game Crazy was basically the game store that they started building into Hollywood Videos. And so I went in there, and the dude was like, yeah, absolutely. I was asking him about Xbox. He's like, yeah, Xbox, it's awesome, blah, blah, blah. Got to get Halo. It's awesome. So I ended up I traded in my PS2 and all my games and everything, and I got an Xbox, and I got Halo and a couple other games. And I fell in love with it. And I absolutely loved it. And I had gotten the S controller, so I didn't have to deal with the Duke.
Yeah, that was a smaller one. Yeah.
And so ever since then, I had pretty much been an Xbox guy. Like I had a 360 on launch. I had I didn't get an Xbox One at launch. I ended up going PlayStation 4 first. And I had a PlayStation 4 and the reason I didn't go Xbox at launch was because they were doing the stupid bullshit where you had to have Kinect on all the time and all that. And so I was like, no, fuck you guys. And then they were trying to do, they came out and they had said, you can't lend people your games. It's going to be like a key code or whatever, or a serial code, and you can't use it. So I was like, fuck you. I'm going with PlayStation. I got a PlayStation. I really liked it, but still I was missing the Halo games, Gears of War, stuff like that. Because those games I really like. I didn't get a PS3 until so far into the life cycle that they were on. I want to say the second Slim, or no, it was the first Slim. I had the first Slim. And I think I had when the first Slim came out, I bought one of the Spider-Man logo, or one of the Spider-Man font ones. Then I ended up getting a Slim. I liked it, but it just wasn't my favorite. And went to PS4, got rid of PS4 when they did away with that with Kinect, got back into Xbox. And until very recently, I've had a Series X and a PS5. And I ended up just, as much as I love Gears of War and Halo games, I just haven't been playing them. And everything I've been playing has been either cross-platform or the stuff I want to play is a Sony exclusive. So I want to play the Gears or the God of War games. And so I ended up getting rid of my my Xbox, and so for the first time in forever, I'm a PlayStation and Nintendo owner, but not an Xbox. I still have my 360 because I got to be able to play NFL 2K. But I have a PlayStation 5 and a Switch, and then that's the extent of my current gen.
Yeah, that's crazy. I knew that you were the big a lot more so than me, the Xbox guy on that. I have not had an Xbox since the 360. But I'm hardcore PlayStation, so I've had every iteration thereof. I've had the original, the two, three, the two different versions of that, or at least two different ones, I should say. I had the 4 Pro, and then now I have the 5. But the funny thing is that the system I pick up the most is a Switch. So I don't know that I really belong in this conversation.
Well, the other thing too, and like Bink said, the thing that I find the hardest, honestly, about playing with the PlayStation 5 is because I'm so used to the Xbox controller, which it's really changed very little since the S controller came out. It's gotten a little smaller. It's in some places it's gotten a little bit more ergonomic. They've changed some of the buttons around a little bit, but by and large, it's the same controller. And so I'm so used to that with the offset sticks. I've actually been looking at PS5 controllers that allow you to do offset sticks. Because to me, holding it with the two sticks down at the bottom is hurt my hands compared. And like you said, you're used to the PlayStation controller with that. And so the other way hurts your hands. And it's just, I really think that at this point, it comes down to IPs and your level of comfort with the controller. Other than that, the systems really aren't that fucking different. We've reached a point where you're, unless you're going with a Nintendo system, everything is pretty much going to look the same across the
Right. It's just game exclusives.
Right.
And my buddies who I've been playing with online, they're in Chicago. There are other places. That's why we play PlayStation, because this is where we can talk and goof around.
Right.
So I think they're starting to get more cross-platform, but it'd be nice where you could talk and do all types of things. But I don't know if that's a paid service you got to do or what. But I don't know. That just they need to be more connective.
Right. That's what I love about things like Among Us, because that is like true cross-platform. Because I know we would play it a lot with myself and Danielle and the kids, and it would be funny because it was like I was playing on a Chromebook, and Danielle was playing it on a Windows machine, and Katie was playing it on a Chromebook, and Tommy was playing it on an iPod. And we're on the same server, and it's just so cool, like to actually play something with that's really agnostic of your device. That's the cool thing. So I completely get it. Like I know Bink, you and I popped on a few times and played Sackboy and had some fun with that and a couple things. I don't really game online a whole lot. I've never have, just here and there. So I don't really have a dog in the fight on that, but it would be cool to actually have like a Discord type service for everything.
Yeah.
That's strictly gaming.
Well, another reason why I like PlayStation 2, it was free to play online, and Xbox you had to pay. Well, of course now you got to pay for everything, but like when I first moved from Chicago down here, it was a way that I could talk to my buddies. They had PlayStations. I had a PlayStation, and so we just play games. So it was that connect to home too. And as you guys know, you guys don't have that connect to home because you're not there. So
right.
And the internet wasn't huge like it is now, and it was just kind of in the infancies. I moved down here in 2005, and I think that was on PlayStation 2, maybe 3 at the most. But I was able to conversate with my buddies and have a good time.
Yeah, no, it's actually kind of funny. We all moved around the same time. Isn't that weird?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of strange because I know, Bob, you were down in Florida, what,
I didn't move down here until 08.
Oh, wait, that's right. You stayed in Jersey for a while. That's right, I forgot. I stayed really until about 06. It was about my time frame. That's funny. But now the I think that's the crazy thing. Actually, you mentioned the online services. We've talked about that here on the pod before. In particular, took some digs at Nintendo's online service and the cost. Bing, do you have any thoughts on? Do you think the PlayStation offerings for the online service are fair for what you're paying for, like with the different tiers, with the plus or the extra or whatever it's called? I'm just curious because
personally, I don't use them. I'll get my free game of the month and maybe play it 2 minutes and not worry about it. But I could see how, if you wanted to play a PlayStation 2 game and paying the extra just to go back and play a PlayStation 2 game, but you have a PlayStation 5. Why would you want to play those older games? But then again, I do have my original Nintendo and I do bust that out too. You know what I mean? So I understand that, you want to play some of these older games, but it would be nice if they upscaled them all. That's where they looked really good, because some of the older ones, they just look like shit.
Yeah, some of the newer one or some of the older games do not port well either. We've had that discussion too about 64 on the 64 games on the online service. Mm-hmm. There's a whole litany of things about how bad Zelda looked on that, so we don't have to get into that one. So no, I agree on that. I think the thing that gets me is I pay for, what's the second highest tier, the plus extra? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I don't use it for what it is either. I really don't. Yeah. Occasionally get a game on there, but then the games that sometimes they offer, it's I already own that. So, it's cool. They have Deathloop. Oh, wait a minute. I have it over there.
Well, that's something that's actually, it's helping me out a little bit with the games, the games free with Plus, because
that makes sense for the games you missed.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of games for PlayStation. I've got physical copies. I've got Madden that I bought to replace the copy of Madden that I sold with my Xbox, Stray and Horizon Forbidden West. I still haven't played the first Horizon, but I've got them, and then I've got a digital copy of God of War Ragnarok.
You got a physical copy of Stray?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I managed to track that down. I'm like, all right, let's grab this, because who knows if we'll be able to get another copy of that.
Well, that's another thing. Until about 6 months ago, I downloaded my first game off PlayStation Plus that I purchased. Me, I like to have the physical copy, and it's probably just my age. But if somebody wants to borrow it or whatever, I have a physical copy. Whereas this, can't do that.
Right. No, and that's exactly that's a point that we've raised quite a few times, and we actually talked about at length just recently with the issues that Nintendo Wii or the Wii U is having, where the systems are bricking. And then I started looking into how long the Switch cards will last and the 3DS games, and they actually have a much shorter lifespan than old Nintendo cartridges and disc-based media and stuff like that. So that's kind of called into question, at least for me, whether or not I continue to collect physical Nintendo, cartridge. Unless they go back to disc-based media, I don't know that I continue to buy physical, and that makes me question how often I get games for the Switch going forward, knowing that they have a finite shelf life.
Yeah, that was a good conversation we dove into. So I'm kind of glad you brought that up, and I'd love to talk to you more in length on that whenever you have time.
I like a physical copy of something I can touch, whereas on my computer, it's just I don't know, it could be there tomorrow, maybe not.
Right. No. And I agree 100%. But I'm thinking about as far as with the money that I'm spending, if I'm dropping $60 now, Nintendo's wanting 70 for games. If I'm dropping that, I want to be able to have that game.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to hold it. But at the same time, I want 10 years from now, if I want to play that game, I want to be able to play it.
Right.
And if that cartridge degrades and I can no longer play the game, did I get my money's worth out of it? Yeah. No, I probably did if I've had it for that long. But at the same time, the preservationist in me is well, now what do I do? Because that eShop is closed. Mm-hmm. I can't buy that game again. Right. So now I can just never play that game again. and I feel like that just kind of sucks.
And like, I think it should be cheaper if you're buying it off the PlayStation Plus compared to a physical copy.
Yeah,
Because you're not paying for any of the advertising, anything.
Right.
You know?
No, that's what I did. So there was a game I had for the Switch that was it was Prinny 1 and 2. It's an NIS game, Nippon Ichi Software, and their games are mostly like small print runs. And that game was like $70 or $80 physical. I bought it for 40, but now it's raised up to that much. I saw it on sale on digital for $10. Done.
Mm-hmm.
Got that, sold the physical copy. Because at this point, now that I know that anything that I have that's good, that's worth money like that, if I can get it on sale on digital for super cheap, and I can sell the physical copy that I know is only going to last for so long, fuck it, it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really we dove into that on a whole episode, and it was really interesting because especially the Switch cards we looked at, they were they're developed of the same format and media as SD cards, and so there's a shelf life to them, and it could be 10 years, it could be 40 years, but it's or more or less. But it's interesting because unless you really scratched a disc up quite a bit, if you took care of it, it's not going to last forever, obviously, but
right.
have a lot longer life cycle. So it was interesting, and it was the first time that I'd heard Bob actually say, I don't know about this, holding on to this stuff, and I've known him for a long time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly,
and it's our generation too that's going to want to hold on to it, where the newer ones be like, I'll just download it.
Right.
They don't even have a second thought about it.
Right. Well, and
that's like stores like GameStop are going.
Right. And just to give you an idea, so our local game store, it's not a GameStop, it's called Game Craze, not to be confused with the old Game Crazy, but they've actually, since that news came out, they've actually, before when you would trade in a Switch game, they would look at it, they'd be like, okay, that looks good. Now they actually test every single Switch game that comes through the doors for a trade, because who knows? I mean, the Switch has been out since 2017 now. So we're not there yet, but we're getting to the point where now we know, oh shit, these things might be a little bit volatile. So now they're checking every single one, make sure it boots up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's it's funny. I'm glad he's kind of brought that back up. Yeah, we'll have to really dig back in on that. But it's interesting. I feel kind of torn still. I do the same thing. I love having that physical copy in my hand, but we've had the same conversation too, where it's like what you're buying now, like with going back to many episodes ago with Call of Duty, you buy that now and it's like, oh, I still have to do 150 gig install plus this 70 gig download or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You're not really buying the game. You're just buying this like it's a license and an installation disc.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's like an old AOL disc.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Well, no, because it'll be less useful because at least the AOL disc you could reuse.
That's true.
But the thing that always comes to my mind whenever we talk about the physical versus digital conversation will always be, it's attributed to Stan Lee, and I don't know if it's actually him saying it or not, but it goes something like this. It's like, look, just like every other guy, I like to look at boobs on the internet, but I'd rather hold one in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm probably butchering it a little bit, but that's the gist of it. It's cool to look at boobs on the internet, but all things considered, I'd rather hold it in my hand. Same thing with video games, with movies, with music. I'd rather have a physical copy of it than just know that I have access to this digital file that may or may not be lost or corrupted at some point.
Yeah. I mean, just trying, like, you're looking at your email and trying to find a specific email.
Right.
Well, you're having a hard time finding that. It might be a game 10 years from now you want to look back and find, and you can't find it.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the download file's not there.
I'm running into that now. There was a game that came out for the PlayStation 3, which I still have, but it's a combination of I don't want to fire it up and find out that it doesn't work anymore, laziness, and just released the game for the PlayStation 5. So there was a game called Chime HD. It was a puzzle game. It was basically released to raise money for awareness. I can't remember for what. It was really cheap. It was like $5 or $10. Yeah, probably. But it was $5 or $10. It wasn't much, but it was only on the version I want. Was only released for the PlayStation 3 because that's the version I want. And it was never released beyond that. So it's kind of like sitting out there and lost with these, in a similar sense, with these other eShops that are shutting down with the Wii U, 3DS, which we've talked about at length. But the I don't know, that stuff like that starts to get to me because it's like starting to find games already that are like, I have them. I don't have them physically because I downloaded them 10 whatever years ago. And it's like, I don't know if my system's going to even work at this point.
Yeah.
Because I already went through a couple different PS3s because of hardware failure. So
was that the red ring? Was that PS?
No, that was the yellow. The yellow.
The PS3 had the yellow light. Yeah, the
yellow light. I just had mine in twice on that one.
Yeah. The Xbox had the red ring of death. The Xbox 360.
360 had that.
Yeah.
And what sucked is they were red ringing because of faulty coolant paste. What is it called? Goddamn, thermal paste. And
is where the heatsink was.
Yeah, the heatsink was shitty, and the thermal paste was shitty. So people were making these intercoolers that you would plug in, and it was supposed to, and then those started making fucking systems red ring. Because I had one that when I took it into Game Crazy, and I was like, hey man, it's fucking red ringing. He's like, you got that fucking intercooler on the back, right? I was like, yeah. He goes, take that shit off. He goes, that's causing your issue. Take that shit off. Sure as shit, it worked. But that $25 fucking fan that I bought for the back of the system to plug in was fucking it up.
Yeah, I sent a 360 in for repair because I didn't know. It was at the time where Microsoft was taking them, and they would basically send you another one. So I didn't bother fixing it myself, mainly for that reason. Plus, I just started teaching at the time, so it was like, I'll just send it off. I'm not going to play it for several days, so I don't really care. Otherwise, like an issue like that now, it's like, yeah, I'd just fix it myself. But anymore, it's like kind of gets to, like I said, a laziness thing with it. Like, I don't want to have to fix it.
Yeah. All right, guys, I got to go.
Well, thanks for joining us on this, man.
Sir.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one. I'll see you guys later.
All right, thanks, Bink. Well, no, that was fun, man. We had a kind of a drive-by guest. How about that?
I like it.
Yeah, no. So we're gonna definitely continue kind of the thought here. Did you ever send your Microsoft Xbox 360 in for the red ring, or did you just fix it yourself?
No, I never. After I took the intercooler off, I never had an issue with it. And then, knock wood, my R2D2 one is still running perfect. So I've been lucky enough to not have to deal with a red ring, even with my launch one. Now my launch one, I did go through a couple. Like I would go through once. I bought my launch one. I played the hell out of it when I hurt my hip and I couldn't do anything, and then I just stopped playing it. And so I ended up getting rid of it because I was like, whatever. Maybe I'm just done with Xbox until Gears of War came out. And then once Gears of War and Halo 3 and all that shit was out, then I was like, all right, I need to have a fucking Xbox again. And so I got another Xbox at that point. But the launch was dry for that. I remember playing Condemned Criminal Origins, which was the first game to make me legitimately drop my controller and scream.
Yeah, dude, the Condemned series was pretty awesome.
Yeah. And then I played the hell out of Madden sucked. Madden 06 sucked for it. Which I remember bringing to your house after I got it, because so for the year that came out for Christmas, I just asked for games. And so my mom sent me up like 4 or 5 games. It was Perfect Dark, or did she send me Perfect Dark, or did I buy Perfect Dark? I don't remember. I remember buying Condemned. No, I don't even think I bought Condemned. I really don't remember which games I bought and which ones she bought for me. I remember bringing it to your house and playing Madden and just being like, why the fuck? There was a point where I wanted to challenge a play and they didn't have challenges in the fucking game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Not only do they not have challenges, the fucking announcer was like this no name, random ass, like it sounded like almost like a really bare bones radio broadcast. And there was no Madden in it aside from John Madden showing up somewhere in like the loading screens or something.
That's right.
It
Yeah.
was just so bare bones and so shitty that I didn't buy another Madden for the 360 for a long time after that.
I haven't thought about buying a Madden game because I'm going to tell you right now, the last one I probably bought was and we've talked about it here before. It's been a decade or more. But Katie actually has been interested because for one of her gifts for her birthday is going to be the Show 23. But I told her, it's like, hey, it's not getting released until after your birthday, so just a heads up. But she mentioned having interest in Madden. I said, that's fine. We'll wait a little bit and see, because now you're getting to the point where it's like you might find it discounted, which typically happens because now you're getting closer toward the new season. So, but I had the going back to the red ring and yellow light talk on the Xbox. So I sent off my 360 for that, for the red ring, and I also had the yellow light issue with the PS3. But the funny thing was that because at the time, it was pre having kids, and I was making what I thought was money at the time. I was like, well, that happened, I'll just buy another one.
Right.
Which is exactly what I did, and I can't imagine doing it now. It's like I just, had an issue with a computer, actually graphics card, over the weekend. And it was like, I don't really want to pay to replace this, but I checked and it was still under warranty. Thank God. And I got a new one put in today, and it's like, yeah, because I looked up the used prices and they're like $600-700 still. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not buying that. Thankful for warranties here. Right. But it's funny how you kind of perceive things differently at different times in your life. And I remember that happening with the PlayStation 3 and was like, crap, and then rebought it, and kind of afraid to plug that in now because I don't know. I don't know. I have no ill will on anything for the Xbox at all. I don't. I just haven't owned one since 360.
Yeah.
I just happen to be a PlayStation guy. This is how it is.
I mean, and I can definitely say this. I sold mine due to a financial situation that my family's going through right now, and eventually down the line, when things are more stable and everything, I'll get another Xbox because I have a ton of games that I downloaded on that. Time Splitters 2 and 3, which are two of my favorite games of all time, and unfortunately not available on PlayStation, which I think it's because they're owned by Bethesda now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a whole nother topic for another day.
So you can't get them on PlayStation, and a ton of other games. I actually still have, thanks Limited Run, I have Day of the Tentacle physical version coming from from Limited Run. So that's I've got some money in the game still, and so I'll eventually switch to that. I'll grab one back, but for now, the PlayStation is where my intention is going to be.
Yeah, no, I think this has been fun. If I had any last thoughts on where I kind of agree with that. It's like if money was no object, I would have both. I would have everything, and I would have every system and every whatever. But but the funny thing is, I have several $100s or more wrapped into the PS5 now, and it's like I don't play that enough to really, to me, justify it. the kids do, so. But no, this was fun, man. Yeah, any last minute thoughts on the PS and Xbox?
Oh, I will say, so I was at Game Craze. I keep on giving them plugs. I wish they would give me like store credit for the free
Dude,
advertising.
yeah, we could do an ad read on the pod, and
Yeah, right?
all 6 listeners will get to hear it.
And fucking none of them live here, so it wouldn't help their business at all.
But did they sell online?
No.
Oh, okay, never
No,
mind then.
yeah. But I was in there and I was looking around. I was just looking at the different systems and stuff they have. And so they have they have one brand new PlayStation 5 sitting behind the counter. And then on top of that, they have a used in-box fucking Neo Geo.
Ooh.
So the PlayStation 5 is selling brand new for $500. Give me a guess of what you think that Neo Geo is selling for.
Oh God. $800.
Almost $750.
Wow. I knew it was under $1,000.
Yeah, so $750 for a fucking used inbox Neo
Wow.
Geo.
That's crazy.
And I've seen a Neo Geo in person because I knew this rich kid that lived in Pennsylvania, and he had one. It's one of my cousin's neighbors, but I've never seen one in a box like that, So that was kind of cool to see. I just wish I would have had the money to snag
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah, you see stuff like that out there every once in a while, and you're like, man, because like I see pinball machines every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I just can't stomach. I can't imagine paying more than what I paid for my first car.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's crazy.
I want that fucking Foo Fighters pinball machine.
That's cool. Yeah, I saw you share. That was awesome.
I want that, but no way. Number one, I don't have anywhere to put it.
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing too, is space.
Yeah. Number two, I don't have that kind of money. Like I could sell a kidney, but there's other shit I got to do with that money if I sell the kidney.
I think we just gave ourselves an idea for another episode, by the way.
Selling kidneys?
Well, that's good. I think that's it.
Okay.